I would like to call the City Council work session for January 29th, 2024 to order. Our first order of business this evening is a very happy event. We are swearing in Mr. Eric Heath, Mr. Joe Satterfield, and Miss Carrie Davis. If the three of you could meet me up at the podium for the official swearing in, please. Two oaths that you have to take. I'm going to do this all together instead of counting the time. The first oath that we're taking tonight is the State of Georgia Loyalty Oath. Please raise your hand. I state your name.
I, Joseph Satterfield,
a citizen of the City of Baldwin, situated in Habersham County, Banks County, Georgia. And being an elected official of the City of Baldwin, Georgia. And the recipient of public funds for services rendered. As such employee. Do hereby solemnly swear and affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God. Thank you. Now, the second piece that we do is a certificate and oath of office for the Council of the City of Baldwin. Once again, I state your name.
I, Carrie Davis,
Do solemnly swear.
that
I will faithfully perform the duties of council member. For the City of Baldwin, Georgia. And that I will support and defend the charter thereof. As well as the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia. And of the United States of America. So help me God. Congratulations. So these are our three new council members, and I would like to give them just a moment to introduce themselves and say something to the citizens of Baldwin. So Eric?
My name is Eric Keith. I've lived here since 2011, and I served for a few months. Took somebody else's spot. So still learning a lot, but I'm looking forward to my role for the next 4 years. Thank you. I appreciate it.
My name is Carrie Davis, and I have lived in Baldwin since '99, and I'm excited to get started with the current council. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that voted for me.
My name is Joseph Satterfield. I was born in Baldwin in 1985. I started living in Baldwin. I would say I'm very pleased to get sworn in today and would like to thank the Baldwin voters, and will do my best to make sure your voice is heard.
Congratulations. Please take your rightful seats. Carrie, you'll be sitting here, and Joseph, you'll be sitting next to me. Make sure your mics are on.
Alright, everybody fluff your hair. You want to take our picture?
And he goes by Joseph, not Joe.
Oh, okay. That's what Mama said.
That's right.
Okay. And for the folks who are new to these meetings, we have a little bit different seating organization this evening, and Councilman Venter is sitting to my right side because as mayor, I have a mayor pro tem in case I can't leave, the mayor pro tem would step in. And
you so much.
there for that,
Appreciate it.
and that's why we have this meeting for these events. Okay, the next order of business on our agenda for this evening is a public hearing. If there are any Baldwin residents who would like to address the council? Nope. No? No, we don't have any public hearings tonight.
But you're welcome. Don't always have a comment.
Nothing here.
I just don't think we have a public hearing. Mom, you got nothing to say? Everything good? Okay, under old business, we have nothing there either, so this will move on quickly. First item of new business is council meeting procedures. CAO Woodmaster, would you like to lead us, please?
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council and new Council. So tonight on the work session agenda, we do have the council procedures. We thought it was a fitting time to bring it before all of you, for those of you who are new. But as well as the old council, if this is an opportunity for us to just walk through it and determine if there's anything that you see that you want to change. There has been some conversation about public comments versus citizen comments. And so this is the opportunity for us to discuss that tonight. On page 1, page 2 of your packet is the current procedures that we have in effect. They were established in July of 2018. That first page is a breakdown of what meetings are. So you have your standard city council meeting, which is where official business takes place. We have 2 of those meetings a year. Those meetings are for all decision making. So the work session, like tonight, is just a discussion. No decisions are made in our work session meetings. This is just an opportunity to put information before you, discuss it, digest it, ask questions, delay decisions, but no official action is taken in a work session. We also have special called meetings, which happen in the event that there is a decision that needs to be made by the city council that is timely, and maybe we can't wait until the next meeting, even though we have 2 meetings a month. It might be something that has to be done by Friday the 1st or Friday the 31st, and we need to convene the council to make that happen. There are 2 ways for that to happen. The mayor can call for a special meeting with the approval of 2 other council members, or a city council person can call for a special called meeting with the approval of 2 other council members as well, or the mayor, to convene that discussion. They can happen anywhere. All of our meetings, work session and city council meetings that are established throughout the year happen in this room, unless there is court, like this evening. We did have a court this evening. However, they finished sooner, so we moved it back up here. But it was scheduled to be in that training center down the hill. Other than that, those meetings happen here, but with special called meetings, sometimes they happen at City Hall, in the community room or in the conference room. Just depends on what the decision is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, it just has to be convened, and we have to give the media and the public enough notice that is taking place. Then there's also emergency meetings, which happen within, like, it's under 24 hours notice. Could be a national emergency. It could be, the state has declared a state of emergency for our area, and we needed to convene the council to make a decision, something like that. In my time here, the last 5 years, I don't think we've called any emergency meetings, but that does exist as well. Any questions so far? All right, flipping over to page 3, we have executive sessions. There's very limited reasons for a city council to enter into executive session in the state of Georgia. Those being discussions on personnel, any pending or potential litigation, disposal or acquisition of property, and then a new one that was instituted just a short time ago is cybersecurity concerns or issues. Without that, you cannot enter into an executive session. You cannot call for an executive session if it doesn't pertain to one of those 4 items. But anyone can request to go into an executive session with the approval of the council. We have public hearings, which are scheduled for our citizens to express their concern on a topic that is typically like a zoning procedure or the budget consultation or budget hearings, or when setting the millage rate or tax conversation. Those are scheduled, they're timed, and it gives the citizens an opportunity to express their opinion on a specific topic, and they're given an opportunity to do so during the public hearing. This is not to be confused with a public comment section or a citizen comment section of a meeting. Any resident, any person that has interest in the city of Baldwin can come before the council and express their opinion during public comment. So that is not, a public hearing is different. It is a scheduled hearing set aside for a specific purpose, which is why you find it on your agenda tonight. Even though there isn't one, it is listed as an option. Okay, and then going down to the rules of procedure, it is common for municipalities as well as counties to adopt some form of rules of order. I'm sure most of you have heard about Robert's Rules of Order, which is a very common parliamentary procedure. We do not follow Robert's Rules of Order. We have established our own set of rules, which is what you're looking at tonight. This is how we govern our meetings, how decisions are made. If there is chaos or an unruly crowd, there's a way to manage that through the rules set before you tonight. So we have made our decision on those via this document. Any questions about that? So everyone has a rule book. This is ours. We do not follow all these rules. If we followed Robert's Rules of Order, we would have to hire a parliamentarian to actually make it happen. It's very strict and quite complicated. All right, so the city council meeting procedures, the purpose of these rules, obviously, as I stated, is to guide how we govern our meetings, to ensure that we facilitate an effective and efficient meeting for the citizens. We want to make sure that rules are clear and simple, and that everyone understands their position in the meeting, that the reason that you are all here tonight is to be the voice for the people that have elected you, and they have an opportunity to hear the decisions that you're making in a calm and concise order. So we have an order of business that has been set for our city council meetings, and that is on page 4. Jumping over, we have the agenda, which the mayor formally will set with the consultation of the CAO and the city clerk. She will approve the agenda, but all of you have the opportunity to add something to the agenda. So if there's something that you would like to discuss, you don't just have to open and pray with it. It is heard. You can request for it to be added to the agenda. It will just be set, confirmed by the mayor. All right, so the official order of business for our meetings is a call to order, which just establishes this is our start time. At work session, we do not complete the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, but that does happen at every council meeting. We also have a consent agenda and the approval of minutes. A consent agenda is really designed to approve expeditiously numerous requests that are all of the same likeness or have all been discussed at some point in the past that need no discussion. Everyone is in agreement with it, and you would approve it in that consent agenda. It is not often that we put things in there other than budget decisions. That is like a budget amendment that we're moving that has already been discussed by council. If we're approving revenue, like acknowledging that we've accepted revenue, that will show up there. And then also our minutes for all council meetings will show up in a consent agenda. So you approve the consent agenda as is. If there is something in a consent agenda that you want to discuss, you request that it be removed from the consent agenda in order for discussion to take place. There is no discussion in a consent agenda. And then number 4 is Baldwin Citizens Concerns. This is what I mentioned earlier, that this is an opportunity for the citizens to come forward, address their council, any questions, concerns they have, points that they want to make. If there is an issue that they want the council to hear, this is the opportunity for them to do that. I know that there has been some conversation about changing that to where it says public comment and not citizen concern. We did have a few weeks back, we had a gentleman who came in who talked to us about homelessness in the area. Wasn't a city resident, but he wanted to come on behalf of the city to discuss it. So we use that section of our agenda to accommodate that. Yeah.
we've also had business owners
Mhm.
come forward. And they might not be Baldwin residents, but they have a vested interest in what's going on in the city. And so it's been my concern with the agenda that we have, that there's not a place for those business owners to speak. So one of the things I would request as we look through this is, in addition to citizen concerns, that we would have public comment. And if there's a better way to phrase that, we have our lawyer here. I mean, is there a better way to phrase that?
Yeah, you typically see it as public comment.
Okay. I mean, that's something I would like to add, just, if Mr. Rhodes wants to come and talk about what's going on in the industrial park. He would find a space, a comfortable space.
So I think traditionally we've let people come in and have them, we didn't require that we want people to be able to speak publicly.
But it just seems weird if we say, any Baldwin citizen, give your address, he's not a Baldwin citizen, for example. So,
Biggest concern I would have is that, I agree completely, is that we need to be careful of turning it into a free-for-all, because that could very easily happen, where anybody and everybody would show up and just vent about anything.
we could have a time limit.
Yeah, so we have a form for people to fill out if they want to be on the agenda and actually discuss a topic. There is also, you can fill out that form to just speak. We can formalize that, however the council may choose to, at Habersham County's meetings, you have 5 minutes if you've put your name on the agenda ahead of time. But if you walk into the meeting and put your name on the agenda to speak, you're only given 3 minutes to speak. So we can institute a time policy and a method to achieve that.
Yeah.
We have an informal document that it's not used often, and when it is a topic that is actually put onto the agenda as business.
The thing about, we need to specify if they're from the county or the state of Georgia or America or immigrant.
I don't-
Yeah, okay.
Any other comments on that? Would you like for us to create a form for a time limit?
I would.
I think time limit would be good.
Absolutely.
I know over time we've been we've been kind of keeping house, it's just
Yeah.
a housekeeping item, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with the method that the county uses? 5 minutes if you requested ahead of time, 3 minutes if you're requesting time to speak in a meeting.
3 minutes goes by really fast,
It does.
Well,
It does.
Well, I don't like that.
That goes by really fast. We've also,
You can say a lot of words in 3 minutes, though.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Not
nobody
enough
needs to
sometimes.
sit here all night and listen to that.
I don't wanna say that we have devolved into how we have conversation with the audience, but that's not necessarily the appropriate way to handle some topics. So I'd like
Yeah.
to see a little bit more formality in how
Yeah.
business owners or residents address us, so. I think we keep our.
He is
Okay. Then we also have public hearings, which I did describe earlier. Then following that is reports. This is in the event that city department heads have reports that they would like to address council with. We typically have our department heads every 5 or 6 months report to council a status of their department. So that will take place there. If there's any special presentations like the budget, that you'll see that in the reports section of our meetings. Then we have old business, which old business becomes old business when it's not new anymore. So if we discuss an item, at work session, it becomes old business. It is something that you have heard before, and it is a discussion that is still happening. A decision could be made in old business, it could be delayed in old business. It just becomes old business once it's addressed before the council or brought before the council. New business means you're hearing it for the first time, a decision is could be made, could be delayed, but it is technically new business. You can make decisions on both old and new business, you can table decisions, you can deny decisions. We just, we've chosen this method really to separate, hey, we've seen this before. Let me refresh my memory, these are things that we've discussed, maybe pull out notes if you had some from that, but that's where old business is. Then we have executive sessions, if necessary. You will always see it on your agenda. If there is an executive session, there will be a subcategory for why we're requesting that. You will also most likely know that we're requesting an executive session before the meeting. Those will happen at the end of the meeting. You do also have the right, as the city council, to move the executive session, let's say to the beginning of the meeting. You have the ability to do that, it's just by vote. Then you also have announcements and general comments by the council. We typically list anything that City Hall or city staff need the public to know, like our events that are happening, if there's important dates that they need to be aware of. Those will show up there. But it is also an opportunity for you guys to say whatever you want to say. If a citizen said something to you and you wanted to relay that to the public, that is the opportunity to do that. And then finally, we have adjournment, which does require a vote. In every meeting, you guys will all make the decision together to leave or not to leave. That is your decision. So, is there any questions so far about that? The rest of this packet, which I encourage you to go back and read through, it just explains who is doing what in a meeting.
Can we put an asterisk next to executive session? And just so people who are listening, who are here in the audience know that we cannot make decisions.
Yeah.
In executive session, right? No decisions can be made, no votes can be taken. And that's why when Ms. Woodmaster said, we can move it to the beginning, like if we need to talk about something and then come out here in public and make our decisions in public with the media here, then we can do that. So no decisions can be made in executive session, no votes can be taken.
Well, they can be taken, they just are not affirmed.
Yeah.
They have to be done publicly. So you can make a decision behind a closed door, but in order for it to be valid, it's gotta happen.
We have to bring it here.
in public. Yes. All right, I will also add that just under that is discussion. You would announce the agenda item, which you've seen this happen in all of our meetings. If there's any comment or conversation about a topic, you engage in that conversation before the vote is had. I don't know that many other places do it any different, call for a vote and then decide to discuss an item, unless there is just a genuine concern about something. But in Baldwin, we typically will address an item, explain why it's on the agenda, what it's relating to, recapping if it's from old business, discussing what was discussed in a prior meeting, just to ensure that everyone knows what decision they're making. And then a vote will come after that. If there's no discussion, a vote will come because there's no discussion about it. All right. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a great explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, no, very helpful.
This is all up for negotiation. It always
Yeah.
is. This is a living and breathing document. So if there are things that you find in here that you think we could do differently or could benefit the public, this is an opportunity for us to change it. We can either reauthorize these procedures as they are, or we can make changes to them and vote on them at a later date. And it will fall under old business.
We can bring this forward, do we need to bring this forward Monday night?
Only if you want to.
I mean, because I'm making a motion to add something to the agenda items, so do we need to vote on that, or
As far as
Is-
public
as
comment.
public comment?
Yeah, changing it.
Well, we will have to, if that change is made, it will have to go before the council for a vote. But if you're not prepared to make a decision, we don't have to make that decision.
Can we move it to Monday?
Yeah.
And think about it till Monday? Are you comfortable bringing this
Tuesday.
forward?
Tuesday, we are closed on
Tuesday,
Monday.
there's a holiday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Erin.
Are you comfortable?
I'd love for that, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good
We'll
thing.
bring it back on Tuesday. And just a reminder to council that we get our packet ahead of time, so the idea is that you prepare.
Yeah.
Right, and so you come here and.
How early do you get?
Depends on how busy
Depends on how busy
we
we
are,
are,
right?
right?
We try to get them to you as soon as we know about it, so you might get topics not in a packet. So if we know that something is coming before council, we'll send it out to everyone so that you're reviewing it. Our goal is to get the packet out to you at least the day before, but sometimes it does happen the day of.
But the agenda goes out to council,
Yes.
to the media when they call for the meeting, so you know
That is
what's
correct.
coming.
Yeah.
Then the supplementary materials in the packet will come to you.
And I encourage all of you, if you have a question about something that is showing up on an agenda, or you've heard somebody talk about it and you want to understand what that is, come talk to us. We're happy to explain what is going on, if there's a decision that needs to be made, helping you understand the support behind it. We're here for you. We're here to serve you. So if there's questions that you have, don't be afraid to ask it. Don't wait a year and a half to ask what LACY stands for.
Yeah.
That was two of you.
I had no idea it was Lee Arundel Correctional.
Yeah.
So if you hear something and you want to question it, please feel free.
Yeah.
We'll
Don't be
have
embarrassed
myself-
to ask questions,
Yeah.
please.
We want you to
Yes.
know. We want you to be
Yes.
informed. So just ask us.
All right, so the next item under new business is qualifying fees, also Ms. Woodmaster.
Yes. So this is an item that doesn't necessarily have to be a decision this year. We do not have a general election. As you know, we just went through an election last year, and our council seats turn over every 2 years. So we do not have an election in 2024, but we do have an election in 2025. This is something, I discussed it with a few of you a couple weeks ago. This is something that I want us to keep top of mind so that it isn't forgotten, that we understand that the qualifying fee ordinance must be adopted before February 1st of any election year. So even though we don't have an election this year and we don't have to adopt this, next year we will. So this is something that you should expect to see in the month of December of this year or January of next year. We need to expect that this show up on an agenda. And the reason for that is because you all are aware of it, but every one of you had to fill out an application and pay a qualifying fee to the county as our election superintendent to run for office. It's an administrative fee to accommodate the cost of managing that. But it is a requirement for us to set it. And it also, this document, this ordinance lays out every position that is up for re-election, but it also lists every position that we have on the council, anything that's up for re-election, and then the qualifying fee associated with that. Our fee is $35 for any post, the mayor's post, or any city council post. It is all $35. This is a fee that you set. So it is something that if you guys want to discuss that further, we are happy as a staff to look at other cities to see what fee they have. We, in Baldwin, we do not officiate our own elections. We are contracted with the county to do that. So we have in our charter that we have someone that oversees our elections. In this case, we've contracted with the county to do that. So all of that work that goes into an election, the poll workers, the poll location, making sure they have the voting systems, all of that is the responsibility of the county, and we pay them an annual fee per election or per cycle. So we don't do any of that, but everyone adopts an ordinance like this because there are some cities that do hold their own elections. They're their own election superintendent. This ordinance just gives them the authority to be ours as well. So it's pretty comprehensive. I encourage all of you to read through it and understand why we do it. If there's any questions that you have about it, I'm happy to discuss that with you. Again, we do not have an election this year, so this isn't something that we have to make a decision on this year. But if we do want to look at the fee and change the fee, or if there's any questions that you have, we would like to do that before the end of this year as we go into the next election cycle.
Do we need to table it, or can it just sit
No.
here and not move
Doesn't have to be.
beyond it? Okay.
No.
Okay, just an FYI.
Yeah.
All right.
Just an FYI, if there's anything, but again, if there's something that you want us to look at, let us know. I don't want to go through 30 days before we have to adopt the qualifying fee ordinance to do research on other qualifying fees that exist. That's all I have. Yes, ma'am.
All right, next item on the agenda is announcements. City offices will be closed Monday, January 15th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Any announcements from staff? Any announcements from council? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
In honor of Councilman Ayers, and to you, members of the council.
I'll second.
You'll make the motion. I have a motion from Councilman Venter. I need a second.
I'll second that.
I have a second from Councilman Eric Keith. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.